Welcome back. Sorry, Jason.
We're trying to solve a problem.
We're doing a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that? What is that? What's the movie? It's the Visit to the Mountain in Bull Durham, where they're wondering what to get him for a wedding. The guy's girlfriend cursed his glove, and they got to cut the head off a live chicken. Nuke LaLoosh is breathing through the wrong eyelid, and his dad's in the stands waving at him. Come on, he's just as full of crap as you are. Welcome back in. From the 916, do other franchises do this? Does Brandon Roy get to coach the Blazers because he has unfinished business? At a certain point, who cares? The Kings' past has ruined the Kings' future more times than not. That's from our angry texter. I know he is. He's always angry listening. I get it. I may not agree with it. I get it.
Well, I mean, I think they've tried kind of everything, right? They've hired from outside. They've hired from within. They've hired people that have had a big track record. They've hired rookie head coaches. I mean,
I would say they've tried a lot of things. I have yet to see them try what I've been begging for them for years to try. And by the way, it's not like Carmichael Dave came up with the idea. I have yet to see them poach or acquire a general manager with a very solid track record of success, with the head coaching position wide open, and bring him in and let him call the shots. Now, this is the closest they've gotten to that.
Wasn't Petrie and Adelman that?
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant under the current administration.
Gotcha.
No.
Gotcha.
Of course.
I thought we were talking about historically.
Of course.
Yeah.
Actually, thank you. That's the last time it happened. That worked out okay. They went and got, Petrie was up in Portland. He had the Petrie-Adelman battery. Come down here. Thanks, Jim Thomas. That was the owner at the time. That's his biggest contribution. A lot of people think it was the Maloofs. It wasn't the Maloofs. It was Jim Thomas that did that.
Right.
And that's the most successful GM coach tandem in history. Now, this is the closest because A, it's the first time they don't have a rookie GM. And B, again, if you take Scott Perry at his word, and we have no choice but to do so, this was his top pick. But I understand the sentiment from the fan base, and they say, why can't we just be like other? Now, look what they're doing in Phoenix. In Phoenix, they demoted their GM and promoted an assistant GM that was at Michigan State when Matt Ishbia played at Michigan State, who's now the owner of the Phoenix Suns. I mean, he's just going through the terrible twos right now when it comes to the new owner Blues. That's just you can watch that. But the hope would be, I think, if you're a Suns fan, that sometime within the next 5 years, if not shorter, Ishbia is going to get it all out of his system, lose enough money, lose enough fans, be ridiculed enough to where you can go, okay, I thought I could. My bad. Somebody help me out. And I think for a lot of Kings fans, that's kind of where their head's at right now is, and these are legitimate questions. How many other GM jobs would Scott Perry have right now? Why was he unemployed for the last 3 or 4 years? How many other head coaching jobs would Doug Christie, if he interviewed for every position of his, any other team going to hire him? What other team has brought back a former great? I mean, maybe what? I'm sure there's examples. I think like Indiana grabbed Larry Bird. Mm-hmm. I don't know. He never played for him, but he's Mr. Basketball there. He is Indiana. But it's still a weird Kingsy road, but also, what if 10 years from now or 5 years from now, other teams are going, you know what, Scott Perry is the best GM in the league, and what a genius move sticking with Doug. A lot of people said that was a bad idea. This is the best coach in the NBA right now.
Right.
Could happen.
I think it's a lot like when you draft a player or anything you do that has success, then you highlight the things that were positive about them, and anytime you have things that don't work, how many times have we heard players say about Doug, for example, well, he played in the league.
Yeah.
Like as a positive.
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot of coaches in the league that didn't.
That's right.
Is Mark Dagnall less of a coach?
No,
Whatever.
Did Joe Mazzulla ever play in the league?
I don't believe
think so. I don't think Brad Stevens ever played in the league. Eric Spoelstra never played in the league.
But
did Greg Popovich ever play in the league? No. I mean, we're just reeling off.
Oh, but Steve Kerr played in the league.
Yes, he did. Phil Jackson played in the league.
Yeah,
you're right.
And I'm sure some of that helps them.
Sure.
I just think you kind of pick apart, like, well, this guy's a really good defender, but he can't shoot. All right, well, are we highlighting the can't shoot or he's a really good defender? It's like
the bottom line is and I'm going to go back to just to bring it full circle with how we started this segment in Bull Durham. When you have mold on your shower shoes and you're in the minor leagues, you're a slob. When you have mold on your shower shoes and you're winning 20 in the show, you're colorful.
Right.
So when you're winning, the coach that had no experience in the NBA, hey, he's a real communicator. Like, he's one of them. He respects it's really better he didn't play in the league. When you're losing, he just doesn't have the ability to connect. They don't respect him.
I think if you polled as many people as you possibly could and asked them about the job that JJ Redick did before the playoffs.
Yeah.
I would say overwhelmingly positive.
I agree.
Then they lost. There's a little bit of, that pregame presser before game 5, the not taking out subs in game 4. All of a sudden it feels like the messaging's a little different. People still saying he did a good job, but it's kind of, when and how are you? Let's go back to the Kings again. I think we would all say George Karl was a really good, historically a very good coach.
Yes.
It didn't quite land the same way. I think Dave Yeager's a pretty good coach. He did okay here. Okay. Was it the ingredients? Was it him? Was it other things? Was it, circumstances he couldn't overcome?
And I personally think Dave Yeager, arguably, if he's not the second best, he's the third best coach we've had. I that's my opinion.
Just not win total.
Not win total.
Right.
He had other things he was dealing with. I'm glad you brought up JJ Redick. Wanted to play this. You remember yesterday where Brian Windhorst said that I'm going to play this clip here, Chris. Brian Windhorst said that JJ Redick coached immaturely. He then went on PTI with Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser, and he extended those comments. And I felt him a little bit because he also mentions the person, it's kind of like what we're talking about with Doug, the personal relationships they all have and friendships they have with JJ Redick from him being a colleague. Anyways, here's what he had to say to expand on those Redick comments from yesterday.
Yeah, I don't like saying it because we all have a personal relationship with JJ, and I have such an immense respect for him. And I think he's done a really good job this year. When you are a first-year head coach, you make mistakes. And I don't know whether JJ would say that today or he's going to say that in 5 years. By the way, go to any coach who's had success and you ask them about their first year, they're probably going to close their eyes and go, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that. And I suspect that JJ is going to say that about the way he operated in this series. I think at times JJ seethes. I think he's really smart. I think he's been great for the Lakers, but I think sometimes he seethes, and that puts him in a bad position. And I think he was seething the last few days. I think he made a mistake with how he played those older guys on short rest, that many minutes in game 4. He, instead of recognizing it, he just doubled down, was almost defiant about it in between games 4 and 5. And he was still seething coming into the game last night, as he demonstrated in the pregame press conference. I wasn't in the locker room. I don't know how he related to the team, but the Lakers were not ready to play to start that game. They did not come out like a team desperate. And regardless of what you think about the question, whether you think the question he got where he stomped out of the press conference was fair or not, that doesn't matter. A coach handles their business and handles the situation. I think JJ would agree that he needed to handle that better. And I just don't think he was as good as he can be. And I expect in the future that he will be much better. And you always know that. You know that when you hire a coach who's young and never done it before, that you're going to go through with this. And the Lakers did. And I think JJ will eventually be even better than he was this year.
England, you got a call. Yeah. I did find myself wondering that. And it wouldn't be a bad thing necessarily if he did, but it did make me wonder if he got a call or a text from JJ.
Could be.
But he's right, and it kind of backs up your point going into the playoffs. But guess what? How many teams do we see in the regular season have success? By the way, the Lakers were the 3 seed. You hit the playoffs, it's a different thing. And Jason, why do we not, we talk about owners that have those new owner blues, make mistakes, hopefully correct them. We talk about players that are rookies that come in and fall all over themselves and figure it out. Why don't we give as much of that grace to coaches?
It's a fair question. The only thing I could think of is it's such a position of authority, power, not power, like the last word, like that. That's the resource we go to for the answers.
Sure.
And so if that resource is shaky in any way, then like
the captain of the ship.
Yeah, it's got to be rock solid. Why would you make that mistake in the fourth quarter? Why would you call that timeout? Well, they're learning this too.
And I think it's important to remember Doug Christie was a rookie coach last year. And by the way, he was thrown into the deep end. So if you're looking for positives or hope, there are ways to improve. There is room to improve. We'll take a break. I swear to God, I'm going to stop and stick to the rundown at some point. We're going to get to the Pistons postmortem, things that went last night, all this wonderful research and effort you put into the rundown that I'm skipping over, Jason. But coming up next, we will get to who's hot, who's not, and let's go streaking. But we got a whole hour after that to get to all this next.
Keegan Murray plays here.
Keegan scores another three-pointer. Keegan Murray now.